through the city, yeah, you know I keep my dime riding with me while I'm these highs.
God, they finally putting some respect on our name, like Birdman said, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways, though,
It's that
let's talk about it, dog.
The Texans defense is a primetime defense. They are now universally recognizing our defense as the best defense the league has to offer.
A primetime problem, the Texans defense. If they're playing in your stadium, you're going to be booing your team.
The Texans defense is not only really good, but they're really disciplined, they're smart, they're well coached.
And I'm here for it. Now, the Texans put an end to the Chiefs, or all but put an end to the Chiefs this past weekend. And as of right now, they sit at 6-7, and it's starting to look like they may not make the playoffs. And after the Texans game, after they lost in that game, the road just got even harder. Now, a lot of people are expecting them to fall.
Harder for who? You talking about for the Chiefs?
For the Chiefs.
That flips me over into talking about something I think we should definitely address is what's happening in Indy, because that also affects us in a certain type of way. Them losing their starter at QB is a big deal for us in the division. Yeah, bro.
It's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
That's not how I wanted to win. When we faced them head on with Daniel Jones in the lineup. He was the best they had to offer. Jonathan Taylor was back there in the backfield. And I took that win to heart because that's a good win. When you beat that team fully loaded, that's a good win. Now, we do have to see that team a second time in the last game of the season.
I'm trying to be at that game.
It's probably not going to be a good game because of what they missing in their lineup now. He has a partial ACL tear, I believe.
Yeah, Achilles or something. The Chiefs are beat up as well too, bro. They're missing a couple offensive linemen. I'm still a dub's a dub, but they were beat up. And bro, you missing offensive pieces in your line against a Texans defensive line is a recipe for disaster, and we saw it on Sunday night, bro.
Yeah,
that was a recipe for disaster, bro.
It was, man. It was. That defensive front that we have, you don't want to show up against that defensive front with less than your best players. And not only that, our secondary did the fool this weekend. We got Patrick Mahomes for 3 interceptions, and he finished under 50% passing with 14 for 33 passes.
Take the under. We took the under.
He hit 160 yards total. So CJ pretty much outplayed him on that side of the ball. And I think I'm here for that.
Regardless, I think there was a lot of stuff in the game against the Chiefs that I didn't notice until I rewatched the game. He got out of a lot of situations where he extended the play and hit the open receiver. I was being very critical because I was like, man, that first jump ball to Nico, that should have been a tutty. Like, that was to the crib. You put a little bit of air into that, Nico gets under it, it's a touchdown. So I was a little critical of that, but then I rewatched the game and watched some of the times where Chris Jones came through like it didn't look like anybody even touched him, bro.
Chris Jones came alive in the second half of the game. And if you were critical of CJ Stroud in this offense, you had good reason to be critical in the second half of the game. Now, we went into the half 10-0. We were leading them by 2 scores. But then the third quarter comes up and we proceed to go like 4 drives at 3 and out. We had -2 yards, I believe, all the way into the end of the third quarter. And that was real hard to watch. That was tough to watch. Now, I'm starting to believe.
And the running backs, too. I don't know when Nick Chubb went down. And then Woody went down for a couple plays.
Well, and he went down.
I think Woody Marks went down. Aguwali.
Yeah. Agumbawali. When Woody Marks went down, he had already drove the ball down to like the goal line. And so he had to
they gave my guy the ball.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't the biggest fan of that, but Woody Marks got the first touchdown in the first half. So he's
coming alive though, bro. Woody Marks is coming alive, and like I said, it's RB1, especially with Joe Mixon in action right now. So
I want to talk about that. Joe Mixon, it seems, is not going to be suiting up for the entirety of the season for some kind of injury that happened to him in the offseason that was not football related. Now, I got a big problem with that because of the way the offense has been looking. We've been real critical of the offensive play calling, and I think we got a right to be because clearly some of the play calls ain't that good. But this offense works a whole lot better if you can rely on a running back to get you some rushing yards and win on first and second down, give you closer third downs.
Bro.
And so often you got CJ, you putting it in his hands in second and long and third and long, expecting him to just go out there and make something happen. In that third quarter, he was put in a lot of tough situations where Chris Jones was hot. Chris Jones was a problem in the third quarter where if you can't hand that ball off and get some rushing yards, you expecting CJ to go back there and play like Josh Allen, play like one of these quarterbacks who you can give the ball to 30 and 40 times and he just pick apart the defense. I don't think that's him. We need Joe Mixon. And the fact that we don't have Joe Mixon over an injury that wasn't even football related just pisses me off because it's the difference in the quality of offense that we putting out there on the field. Joe Mixon was a beast last season, and he was winning on first and second down.
He was a big part of the offensive scheme.
A huge part.
That probably, I feel like when you see that, you probably, like, if I was the coach, I'd be like, dang. That's one of those dudes that they go down on the field, they get hurt, the whole team out on the field. You know what I'm saying? So, Joe Mixon being a missing piece is a big deal. But you what? Just call Jaquavius, bro. Just call Jaquavius. Jaquavius Marks.
Jaquavius Marks is exceeding expectations. I'm willing to admit that. But Marks took 26 carries for 68 yards. I'm going to be honest with you.
Joe Mixon's going 150, 120 or something.
If you give him 26 carries, Joe Mixon going for a hundo. At least.
Yeah, at least.
And that's the difference in this game is that we not breaking no runs. And throughout the entirety of the season, we not breaking runs. We not giving it to, in these 26 carries, there wasn't really one that he just took 20 and 25 yards because they couldn't tackle him. That's what Joe Mixon is. That's what we missing. It's a big problem because we having to grind out games like this where if we had Joe Mixon back there and third down was now third and 4 instead of third and 10. Bro. Yes,
dog. It takes a ton of pressure. But that leads me into one of my notes. We don't ever talk about the punter Townsend, and I think Homie's is a gem, bro. I don't think we talk about him enough. Homie's
flipping field
Homie's
position.
got a boot. Yeah, bro. He's doing what he needs to do there. Also, we talk about the defense so much. But just the fact that Jalen Petrie got that tip pick was crazy. One time for that boy from the H, bro. The hit was crazy, but I'm talking about the tip, and then he ran around and got the interception. I haven't seen an interception like that in a while.
Well, that was a special interception, but the biggest interception was the one that Travis Kelce gave to Azeez Al-Shaair.
That
was the one
crazy.
that sealed the game and took them out.
The ball. Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was the game plan, bro. If you watch the defense, the defense was just a bunch of bullies. All the picks were nasty. Kamari last, like all of that play where they had a homie wide open, Johnson, whoever it was in the end zone, and Kamari Lassiter punched the ball out, bro. I'm talking about it's a perfectly timed hook, bro. There's no homie was coming down with the ball. That's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's where I say that I think, I'm not gonna get all overzealous about the Texans, but defense wins championships is what they say.
Yeah.
So we're at a spot where a lot of people are noticing the defense and they see that because all the Texans got to do is score 21.
Yeah.
It seems like defense is holding them under 20. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if you knew that, but Jalen Petrie's from Stafford. He went to Stafford High, bro.
Yeah. No, I heard about that. I really do think that I question how well we can do in the playoffs. We got a fairly easy schedule to finish off the year. We got Arizona next. They free falling. They quarterback injured. Then we got the Raiders who are free falling. They're likely about to fire Pete Carroll. And Geno Smith likely won't have that job next year.
We could use these dubs, though.
Yeah, we could use these dubs. But I think we have to use these games to figure out a way to get that offense going. If I'm the Texans, I'm looking into free agency and looking to see if there are a couple of running backs that you don't know what you're going to get from him. Because if Nick Chubb is injured and the best we have is Woody Marks, I think we need to be looking for some guys that's sitting out, some guys who believe they got something in the tank and just haven't had a shot. And I think we need to just sign some free agent running backs and allow them to run with us for a couple of games to see if we can strike gold. Because it's the running game. It's not the offensive line. And it's not all the way play calling. The play calling has gotten better throughout the season.
It's not bad, yeah.
It's the fact that you cannot rely on any of your running backs to win on first and second down consistently. And I think that's something that they need to address before we get into the playoffs. Because when we get there, there's nothing more you can do at that point. At that point, we need to fully expect the defense is going to show up like they supposed to, but there's a good chance the offense is not going to score enough points. And our defense says that you just have to get to 20.
But my 2 cents is I think we need to let our receivers step up. I think Higgins needs to start balling out, which he's already doing great, but he needs to ball out. I think Hutchinson, same thing. We gotta see that Cade Stover, which is the backup tight end behind Dalton Schultz. We gotta see. I think that all needs to be picked up. But I do think the running back situation helps the receivers because you can actually do some play actions. They actually are scared of the run. Right now, they're not super scared. They're a little nervous, but they're not super scared of Woody Marks and Nick Chubb and Wally. Like I don't think they're scared of that right now. So
no,
yeah, bro.
Not.
I think that we had a tough front end of the schedule. I think this back end looks pretty. We sitting nice. We just got to go get it, bro. That's it.
I agree with you, but just to add on to your point, CJ went 15 for 31. And to be honest with you, in a game where the Chiefs only scored 10 points, there is no other reason for CJ to have to throw 31 passes. This was several third downs that he had to throw long passes on, and they contribute to him being under 50% passing. I don't believe that our receivers aren't getting a chance. I think his connection with Nico is still fire, but I think that because we're not getting the rushing yards that we need, he's forced to put the ball in the air more times than he should need to. And I believe that CJ just got some more growing to do as a passer of the football. I think in year 4 and year 5, you'll start to believe in CJ as the kind of guy who can sit in the pocket and pick defenses apart because he's seen so much at that point. But right now, I don't think he's that guy yet, and it's okay that he's not that guy because he's still a real good quarterback. He has to be able to rely on the guys around him. And if you don't have a great offensive line, if you don't have a great play caller, then you need to be able to rely on your running back to be able to win on first and second down. Give me 3 yards on each down, and then we talking 3rd and 4. And if CJ is throwing passes in 3rd and 4, he ends up over 50%. And that's where we need to win tougher games. The Chiefs, they wasn't ready for us. They had injuries on the front end, and Chris Jones really only showed up for like a quarter and a half and made it difficult. Outside of that, it was us defeating us. It was us holding us back from scoring enough points to put them away at halftime.